Sandra. I'm college track East Palo Alto class of 2002, part of the second class of college track. I went to UC Berkeley for my undergrad, and recently I went back to school to get my MBA, graduated from UC Davis last year. And currently I'm working in the insurance industry, handling litigated claims and high net worth policies.
Hi, everyone. My name is George Aidoo. I graduated from Dillard University, and I am currently working at College Track, doing the work that has value.
My name is Miriam Yupanqui, and I was part of College Track's first graduating class in 2001 from the East Palo Alto location. And I graduated from UC Berkeley and obtained my master's in public administration from USC. Now I'm very excited to come back to my community of East Palo Alto. I currently run a nonprofit in East Palo Alto called Nuestra Casa, and we really focus on uplifting the voices of the immigrant communities and underserved communities in the Mid-Peninsula.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Timmy Yu, obviously. College Track, San Francisco, class of 2013, one of the first classes of San Francisco, and I hear we've moved to a really beautiful site since then. Went to UC Berkeley, got out with two degrees in molecular biology and economics. Going back a little bit, I think to where we grew up. Part of the question, grew up a bit below the poverty line, Bayview Hunters Point in San Francisco. First in my family to speak English, first in my family to go to college, et cetera, and so on and so forth. Right, a lot due to the mentorship and early support that I got from College Track. Today, I'm senior vice president at Heal, a technology-driven healthcare company that at this point we've secured over 160 million in funding. I lead company strategy, have led the company's growth to over 500% in the past year alone. We've served 200,000 patients, a lot of whom would otherwise not have any access to any doctor. So super proud of that and super grateful that College Track put me on a trajectory to do a lot of the stuff I do today.
If you could you help kind of paint a picture of those early days at College Track from your own experience?
I too was undocumented, first generation, limited resources. No one in my family had gone to college or owned a home or held a professional job. So for me, College Track helped me look at the unattainable, the unimaginable as attainable. And it wasn't just the financial support, but it was just the people. I remember Marshall coming, sorry to call you out, Marshall, but I remember you coming to Carlmont and trying to recruit me and just telling me, we'll pay you to do your homework. And I kept brushing you off and saying, no, this is too good to be true. And when I finally did join College Track, I quickly realized that the benefits are far beyond financial, far beyond, paying us to do our homework, but it was the community support. I remember, our driver, Haru, picking us all up from school and then dropping us off all at home, and just the community that we had in the car ride. Marshall, I remember you bringing your kids to work and, us watching baby Marshall, and it was just community. I remember.
The main memory I have is really, it was probably the first time in my life, like it was Omar Butler for me, but I got sold the same message when I was an 8th grader in middle school. Like, dude, you can get paid to do your homework and actually try to do well in high school. And I'm like, well, I have $0. My parents have a little bit above that. So that sounds like a really good idea, right? And what I quickly realized is it was probably the very first time where it became just extremely evident that I was surrounded by adults who actually care and gave a crap about where I ended up when I got out of high school and where I was going to go to college and what my future adult life would shape out to be, right? And at the same time, being surrounded by a community of students in very eerily similar shoes, to start to recognize for the first time that there are people who are in this stuff together. There are people who also want to strive to do amazing things in their life. And actually just to be in that community was an inspiring thing every single day.
Has earning a college degree changed your life? And if so, how?
Similar to other students at College Track, I was also the first person in my family to graduate from high school and graduate from college. And I feel that every time I came to college track, it was like coming home. The support system, the care from the tutors, from the program staff was always amazing. And I also feel that they also enabled us to push us to achieve our goals. They challenged us. They really focused on the professional development side as well. And when I came to public speaking opportunities or volunteer opportunities, College Track was there to guide us. I feel that thanks to College Track, getting into college was a bit smoother. And the opportunities that came after college have been amazing in terms of really being able to identify my passion and what I want to do in life. And a college degree just facilitates that. Since then, I've had the opportunity to work in different organizations. I previously worked in the social science research space and consulting space, and realized that where I wanted to be was back in my community of East Palo Alto. So for me, it's always been amazing having strong mentors like Marshall, like Cynthia Killey, Lorene Paul. I was part of College Track's first graduating class, and I remember Lorene Paul reading my personal statement for college and giving me feedback, and that just shows the type of commitment she has to the organization and the students at College Track.
To answer the first question, if we're talking about things that have changed, I would say structure. Before, it felt like College Track was like any other probably after school program in New Orleans. You come here, you do some work, and then you go home. But then now working here, it has evolved into something that you can't even imagine. Like sending kids to Rwanda and Uganda for like 2 or 3 weeks in the summer. Like when I was in the program, I wasn't getting opportunities for Apple or to do Mike's or Sam's, because we were still infantile here in New Orleans. And so just seeing like the passion that my fellow coworkers have, to see it on the other side, and then to see just like the growth of the program has been beautiful, and also to be a part of it. And to answer that second question, I'm first generation in my family also. My cousin being the only other person I know having a college degree. And it was important for me because it's a stepping stone for my next generation of family members, and whoever I would want to bring to my family when I have one.
How has College Track played a role in both your personal and professional development?
College Track taught me to be bold, be visionary, and to believe, right? I remember my senior year in high school. I was waitlisted at UC Berkeley. I had a couple other places to go to, and I remember, I don't know if this is still, maybe this was a part of College Track San Francisco's infantile stage, right? But I cut school in high school for about a week. It's kind of cutting quotes. And I spent 8 hours a day in the College Track site with several mentors at College Track, trying to figure out, how do I get off a wait list? How do I apply to scholarships, right? It resulted in me getting off of the wait list. I got admitted to UC Berkeley. The rest is almost history. But I also won the Gates Millennium Scholarship. So my parents weren't taking out loans. I wasn't taking out loans. And it was just literally a dream come true. It was everything Omar promised and more. And I think none of that was possible without me sort of recognizing at a very young age that, well, the first step is believing in really awesome things, and being bold in the actions that I take, and being able to see a future that is incredibly hard to see. So, fast forwarding several years, I've learned a lot professionally. I find myself at a senior executive position at a very young age, leading very serious things. And there is a very rare time that I walk into a boardroom and I see anybody who looks like me, right? Somebody who has a similar background, a similar experience. And even to this day, even after nearly 20 years of something as awesome as College Track and everything Lorene has been doing in the community and with students, right? it's still hard to imagine that people with our backgrounds can actually achieve great things because we just don't get to see much of that. And I think college track has been instrumental in teaching students like myself when I was 14, and a lot of students today, and I'm sure a lot of my fellow panelists too, that we can do it. That if you don't see somebody who looks like you, well, be the first person.
I think just from personal development, just looking back to the early days of undergrad, when I, through high school, it was really exciting to gear up for that. And it's like, I'm finally here. I was able to commit to CU Boulder without any burden of a financial burden. Even though being undocumented, I was able to receive a package that would fully cover my first year and then the years to come after that. So that was really exciting, but that wasn't just it. I remember my first semester, it was just a huge shock. I realized I had prepared for the academic arena for college, but in a way that I didn't have the emotional tools to be able to continue on in a healthy way. And I really got to a point of, I wanted to leave school, and I said, well, what does this mean for me? I thought I belonged here, but I don't feel it. And I remember calling one of my college track mentors and saying, like, I want to leave. And that's that, like, how do I go about withdrawing? And they're like, no, like, you're going to stick around. We're going to get you to the point of, if all you have to do is talk to your professors and have extensions on your classes. Like, I was there and I was facing this odd dilemma of, I had always been this stellar student in high school, but I was literally flunking out of college. Like, what do I do? And if it wouldn't have just been for that emotional support of, you're going to be resilient, you're going to commit, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know if my journey would have been the same. But with that, that's taking me to the professional journey of now as a professional, understanding that that's not the last straw. You can go to resources that you have about yourself. And thanks to that college degree, the doors have been opened into places that are unimaginable. Just as I mentioned earlier, the generational impact. Now just realizing, as I'm going to have my daughter, I'm going to be able to guide her because I have gone through it. And as Timmy said, if there wasn't someone before you, now you are the first. And now that has changed. We've literally jumped generational hoops from one generation to another. And what my daughter's generation, what my grandchildren's generation will be able to do, I just can't imagine, but that's just so exciting for me. But just that resiliency, as Timmy mentioned too, I really want to touch on being bold and just being gritty, realizing that even if the 17-year-old in me thought it was the end of the world, it really wasn't. And it was thanks to college track staff that told me to continue persevering through my journey.
As I said at the top of this meeting, we're celebrating 25 years of college track. It'd be really interesting to hear from each of you what you'd like to see from college track in the next 25 years. And anyone can start off.
I'm going to start by saying I want 12 more sites. I think we have 12. I want 12 more. I want to see our name everywhere because, I mean, the organization has done so much for me with my personal growth that I feel like it can help so many other students, scholars, parents, alumni. It's a beautiful network to have, and we just need to share the wealth. Also, shout out to Nola.
I think I read some stat the other day that there's, I think there's like 40 cities in America now that have over 500,000 people living in them, right? I love to see, excuse me, I love to see a college track site literally in all of those cities. I think, 25 years and probably even in 2.5 years, right? I love to see college track develop some way to offer a virtual version of college track in all the areas that would be incredibly difficult to have a site simply because of population, right? And then lastly, I think what's super awesome about college track that doesn't get spoken about enough is I do think that it's one of the rare companies / nonprofits that's sort of changing how we think about working in the education system is like, right? Unfortunately, it's not very attractive in America today to, pursue education as a career and give back to your community as a career. And I think college track is one of the few companies that's changing that. there's a very important role that college track's also taken in redefining what it means to work in education. I think that'll be even more incredible to watch that develop over the next 25 years.
I think all of us would love to see more college tracks, and I think we all are really excited about the fact that we're just not that program that is trying to get students to college any longer. We're there. I think, as you said, Sandra, beyond that, these are really lifetime. Let's just say it's a commitment that's both ways, right? It's the student and the organization, and we both have to be committed to maintaining that relationship and supporting one another. There's just as much of a role for our scholars to play in college track moving forward, as college track can continue to play in the lives of the scholars that are a part of our program. Just once again, thank you for being in this space and sharing your stories and letting us learn a little bit more about your journey and how it's continuing to impact your lives. So thank you for your time.